What is up, everyone? VideoBox here with our 5th card discussion, and we're going to go a little old school today and talk about a card that recently got taken off the ban list, which is Tsukuyomi. So I'll assume most of you know what this card does, but for those of you that don't, basically it's like a Book of Moon instead of monster effect. So yeah, but to talk about Tsukuyomi, it's kind of hard to not bring up like why it was banned in the first place and some of its old combos, so I'll go through that briefly. So while Tsukuyomi was still legal, there was a lot of abuse with flip effect monsters, kind of like Magician of Faith. And Magician of Faith also brought out spells like Pot of Greed, Graceful Charity, and Confiscation. I mean, there are a few others, but those are some of the ones that people use the most. And there was a lot of abuse with Magician of Faith and Tsukuyomi, because you would flip summon Magician of Faith, get back one of these powerful spells, and when you normal summon Tsukuyomi, you would flip Magician of Faith face down, and near the end of your turn, this would go back to your hand. So yeah, but despite all this actually wasn't the reason why Tsukuyomi was banned in the first place. It was actually because of this card right here, Mask of Darkness, and another trap card which I don't have on me, which is called Time Seal. Basically, what Time Seal was you activate the trap, the opponent skips their draw phase. And much like the Magician of Faith, like flip abuse, you would use Mask of Darkness to get back Time Seal. Tsukuyomi would flip Mask of Darkness face down, and you would set the Time Seal. And Tsukuyomi returns to the hand, and when the opponent's turn began, you would flip Time Seal, they would skip their draw phase. And then you would repeat the combo again by flipping Mask, getting back Time Seal, summon Tsukuyomi, flip the face down, and repeat. But yeah, it was this combo that actually got Tsukuyomi banned in the first place, because it basically mimicked the effects of a similar monster that is also still currently banned, which is Yatagarasu. Albeit it was a more complicated combo, but it was still effective enough where Konami actually had to ban 2 of the 3 cards in the combo. Now ironically, Magician of Faith was still at 1 when they banned Tsukuyomi, but Time Seal and Tsukuyomi got banned at the same time, so you can kind of guess why that was. Why both cards got banned. But anyways, that was the past. This is the future. So yeah. What does Tsukuyomi really have to offer now at this point? I mean, ideally, in today's game, the game is sped up fast enough where normal summon is one of the most vital things in the game. And Tsukuyomi is one of those cards that eats up the normal summon. Although its effect is great, it's not as good as it used to be. Basically because the normal summon is so important that most people would rather kind of have a +1 off the normal summon, kind of like Tour Guide or Elemental Hero Shadows. But it's not to say that it's not to say that Tsukuyomi's effect is bad per se. It's just not as useful as it once was. At least that's how I see it in my opinion. Although I mean there are still some practical uses with Tsukuyomi. I mean back then Tsukuyomi was known as the Monarch Killer only because each Monarch had 1,000 defense. And when a Monarch was stuck on the field, you would normal summon Tsukuyomi, flip it face down, and attack over it. So yeah, it was known as the Monarch Killer, but today it also has a lot more things to attack over, kind of like Thunder King Ryo and Dark Arm Dragon, among others. So yeah, I mean it still does what it does offensively, but in terms of looping broken cards, it's not as good as it used to be. And I guess also, because of its spirit abilities, it can also drain the attack and defense of Light and Darkness Dragon, so that's another plus for it. But I think practically, in a deck that doesn't really rely too much on normal summons, Tsukuyomi is still a decent card. I mean, off the top of my head, Heretics come to mind, Chaos Dragons also come to mind. But if you just want to use it as like a standard beatdown card, you can go through like a basic play like special summoning Cyber Dragon, and then you normal summon Tsukuyomi, flip whatever monster they have face down, then attack, and it returns Tsukuyomi to the hand. But a lot of Tsukuyomi's effectiveness is kind of limited because of stuff like Effect Veiler and Skill Drain. Basically, when Tsukuyomi was still legal, Effect Veiler wasn't even out. Ironically, Skill Drain actually was out, these two were actually released in the same initial set. It's just that nobody cared about this card back in like 2004 as they do now. But that's something that's confusing me as well too. But yeah, as it stands now, these two cards kind of fuck over this card a little bit. So it kind of limits Tsukuyomi's use a little bit, but at the same time, these are only two cards in a deck. And if you really were desperate enough, you can set Tsukuyomi anyway, and if they attack into it, you can flip their monster face down and you can kind of respond later. But I think Tsukuyomi is going to follow suit of some other cards that used to be eliminated or banned, like Magic Cylinder, Call the Haunted, Jinzo, Breaker the Magical Warrior, and Marshmallow. All 5 of these cards at one point have either been banned or limited to 1, but gradually through the formats, all these cards are now at 3. And I think until somebody finds a broken use for Tsukuyomi, I think it would stay at least at 1, if not go to 2 next format and then go to 3 thereafter. But that's honestly just my opinion about the card. It's still good, just not as good. But yeah, if you guys have any comments about how you guys play Tsukuyomi or what you guys think of Tsukuyomi, feel free to leave a comment down below. And yeah, well, until the next card discussion, this is VideoBox, and I'll catch you guys later. Oh yeah, also, don't forget to subscribe and stuff. Like our Facebook page if you guys haven't already. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.